this video, I'm going to create this dashboard using Tableau. The data for this Tableau dashboard is in two different CSV worksheets. The first CSV worksheet is BA underscore reviews, which contains the reviews of the aircraft based on different parameters like ground service, seat comfort, and so on. The second worksheet is countries.csv, which contains the countries, country code, continent, and region. I open the Tableau and clicking on the text file to add the BA reviews CSV file. Now I'm adding countries.csv file to this existing file. Now I'm joining both these files using a common column. The common column is place in the first CSV file and country in the second CSV file. Now that we got the data, let's move on to the sheet. The first thing I'm going to do is to convert the place into a geographical location. If you look at the place column here, the place dimension, it is ABC, which means text form, but I want to convert it into geographical location. To do that, right click, go to geographical role and country or region. You could see a small globe icon here to the left. That means it is now a geographical location. Now if I click this dimension place and go to show me and click on the map, the place data is mapped onto a geographical map. Next, I'm creating a parameter. To create a parameter, right click, create parameter. I'm calling the name as pick a metric. The data type is string. I want it to be list. I'm adding the list items here. Now once you complete the list, click OK. Now you could see the parameters at the left bottom. To make the parameter appear on the map or on the sheet, right click, show parameter. You could see the parameter appearing on the sheet. Instead of a drop down, I want it to appear as a list. To do that, right click and select single value list. Next, I'm going to create a calculated field and connect it to this parameter. To create a calculated field, right click and create calculated field. I'm calling it metric selected. You could see a small equal to button to the left of the measure. That means it's a calculated field. I right click on the calculated field and writing a case statement. This is a case for pick a metric. First case is when we choose overall rating, then it has to pick the overall rating from the table. The second case is when we choose cabin staff service, it has to pick the cabin staff service from the table, and so on. Finally, we end the case statement and click OK. You could see the metric selected measure to the left. I want to drag it onto the color marker. So dragging it while clicking Option or Alt on your keyboard, you get these options to select from. You could click sum or average or median or count or anything. I want to select the average of the metric selected. Average. Now if we select the different metrics, we could see the different changes in the map based on the average value of that metric. Now I'm doing some changes in the map so that it has a different color and it has different boundaries, and unselect all the states because I'm looking at countries. Next, I'm going to create a dynamic title for the map based on the parameter selected. I'm writing the text form first average by country, and then in between I'm going to insert the parameter dot pick a metric. Now we could see the title changing with every change in the parameter. Next, I'm going to add a filter, a date filter first, and then the other filters. Click Alt or Option and drag the date onto the filter. You could choose year, month, day based on the granularity you want. I'm clicking month. OK. Now the map appears to be disappeared, but if you right click on the month and click on continuous, the map will appear again. Now to make the filter appear on the sheet, right click on the month and show filter. You could see the filter to the right of the sheet. Now to apply this filter to all the sheets, the ones which we already made and which we want to make in the future, you click on apply to worksheets and all using the data source. Next I'm adding two more filters, seat type and travel type, dragging it and show filter. You could see both the filters on the sheet. I also make them apply to all the sheets. Next I'm converting these into a single value list instead of checkboxes. The last filter I want to add is the aircraft type, but the aircraft type has a lot of aircrafts. So to put all these aircrafts on the sheet, I need to group them somehow. I want to group it by the number of reviews. So I drag the number of reviews onto the sheet and we could see the number of reviews. I'm sorting it. So now we got the sorted aircrafts based on the number of reviews. Now any number of reviews which are less than 50, I want to group them together and call it a name, various. Let's edit the group. Right click on the group, edit group. Now we see only little number of groups. So now we could add this to our filter and to our map. To add this, right click on the aircraft group, show filter, right click again on this, apply to all the worksheets. Now we could see this aircraft group. Select a single value drop down. Now we could select all the different types of aircrafts as a filter. Let's add one more filter, continent. Drag, right click on the continent, and show filter. So when you hover over any part of the map, you could see some values appearing. That is called a tooltip. So the next thing I want to do is format this tooltip. So I click on the tooltip in the shelf and remove this place and remove the average metric selected and replace them with the following. Now we could see the change in the tooltip. I can also reduce the number of decimal points. To do that, right click on the average metric and format, click on pane, number, number custom, decimal places 1, and that's it. Now we could see a change in the tooltip. The next thing is I want to add one more thing to the tooltip, which is the number of reviews. To do that, just simply drag the number of reviews onto the tooltip and right click on the tooltip, enter the text you want, let's say number of reviews, colon, and insert the count of reviews. Now you could see the count of reviews appearing dynamically in the tooltip. In the next sheet, I'm going to create summary cards for this data. First, I'm clearing off the sheet and dragging the rating onto the canvas, changing the metric from sum to average. Next, I'm dragging the cabin staff service onto this data point till I see the show me card. Now we got both the average rating and cabin staff service. Let me change the metric to average. Next, I'm dragging entertainment while pressing option button or alt button on the keyboard. In that way, we could select the average there itself while dragging. Similarly, I drag all the other metrics onto this table. I'm moving the measure names to columns. On Mac, I'm pressing Fn and command button and dragging the measure names onto the text marker. I increase the width of the column and right click on the cell to remove the header. Next, I edit the title, the summary, bold it. Next, I format these labels. Right click. I'll keep the measure values on the top and measure names at the bottom. I'll increase the font size of the measure value. I'll keep them in the center. I want to sort this list. I could do the sorting by right clicking on the measure names and arranging the rows. For me, I'm okay with this, so I'm going ahead. Next, I format the decimal values. I want only one decimal value. I'll click on format and change the number to custom number and one decimal. I'm aligning these card values to the center. The next sheet is to plot the average of the metric by month. First, I'm pressing Alt and dragging date onto the columns so that we could select the granularity. So among these, I'm selecting the continuous date and the green monthly data. Green is continuous and blue is discrete. Now I'm pressing Alt or Option and dragging the metric selected onto the rows. Then I select the average metric and clicking OK. I change the color in the color mark shelf. I'm right clicking on the chart and clicking format to format the chart. I'm clicking rows and making all the grid lines and other lines disappear or none. I'm clicking on the y-axis and removing the title of the y-axis. I'm doing the same for the x-axis as well. Now I'm editing the title. Write the average and insert parameter dot pick a metric by month. Next, we are going to plot a bar graph to plot the data for aircraft. I'm dragging the aircraft group to the rows and dragging the metric selected onto the columns by pressing Option or Alt, and in that I'm selecting the average. Let me hide the field labels and let's put the labels for the bars. Let's format these values so that they have only one decimal place. Also, let's get rid of all the grid lines in the rows and columns. I'm sorting the bars. Now let's drag the number of reviews or the count of reviews onto the columns. We got two bar charts, one for the number of reviews and the other for the average metric. Let's change the name of the x-axis. Let's call it, let's make it dynamic by using a pick a metric. Let's change the x-axis for the other graph as well. Now I'm changing the color of this graph. I'm dragging the metric selected onto the color for the average metric. I'm clicking on the color, edit color, and here I'm giving the hex code. Now I'm doing the same thing for the other bar graph as well, the count of reviews. I'm dragging the count of reviews onto the color and picking the color. Let's edit the title. Average, insert parameter dot pick a metric by aircraft. Now finally, let's create a dashboard. I'm dragging a horizontal container. Inside this horizontal container, I'm dragging another horizontal container aligned to the left, and into this horizontal container, I'm dragging a text and giving the text title. In the next half of the horizontal container, I'm dragging the summary sheet. To edit the background color, I'm navigating to the layout, background color, and selecting the color. For changing the background color of the summary, I'm going to format and shading. in that worksheet color is selected. Next, I'm dragging a vertical container into the bottom horizontal container and aligning it to the left. To the right of this vertical container, I have two horizontal containers. In the top horizontal container, I'm dragging another horizontal container and aligning to the left. Then I drag another horizontal container and placing beside it. So we have two horizontal containers side by side. On one of it, I'm dragging the map. Along with the map, I got all the parameters and filters. I'm dragging these and aligning them inside the vertical container. The monthly sheet and aircraft sheet onto this, the respective containers. And finally, I'm dragging a vertical container in between the vertical container and the horizontal containers just to create a marker or demarcation. So that's all for this video. We created a dashboard which depicts the metric by month, metric by country, metric by aircraft with the parameters and filters. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching.